Ah, mga kasama, ako pala si Lieutenant Colonel Anthony Macatual. I am one of the members of the proud Special Forces in our country. That the 11 SF company, they were able to recover firearms that was hidden in plain sight. No? Ang ginawa nga doon nang nag-withdraw yung MILF that time, tinabunan nila ng buhangin. And then, because of the community organizing efforts ng 11 SF company that time, they were able to convince the people. So, the people told them na nandun lang sa buhanginan. So, nung nakuha yung mga firearms, they were able to recover mortar, caliber 30 rifle, and some high-powered firearms. So, because of that capability na nagamit namin, so, the higher ups recognizes that one, that the SF could do that, the community organizing. So, we utilize that one. So, after that time, nung natapos na yung MOA AD, the Maguindanao Massacre, no, pumutok siya sometime in December 2009. The SF also were utilized to pacify the communities kasi nga with the forte nga ng SF nga is organizing, so we're able to touch the masses, the people, no, kasi nga that time magulo yung Central Mindanao, no, yung Maguindanao kasi dahil nga sa massacre ngayon. So we're able to pacify the people, no. Sabi namin na it is just only temporary, huwag kayo matakot, di naman kami kigera sa inyo. Kasi nga, natapos na yung gera noon sa 105 Base Command noon sa MILF months before. And then, we're able to help the people na to feel them secured. And then, of course, yung efforts ng units natin, no, we're able to recover some firearms, no, na under the possession of the then kay Ama, si Ama, forgot the name. Then, the governor of Cotabato that time. So, after that sometime, no, way back 2010, there was a time na nagkaroon ng relative peace. Walang gera, walang harassment ng mga patrol bases. Nagkaroon kasi ng parang relative peace around 2010, 11. Okay. Because the administration at that time is very willing to talk with the MILF. That is why in 2011, kinausap ng government natin at that time, then President Aquino, si Ustads, ngayon, si Chief Minister na ngayon, that they will be having a peace talk with the government. So, the willingness of the government at that time. So, the armed forces there is talagang more on kami stability operation, checkpoints, more on law enforcement operation. Then in 2011, no, lumabas yung parang proposal ng BOL, I forgot that year, 11 or 12. Lumabas yung BOL, Bangsamoro Organic Law. Lumutang yung idea na yon. And then the people of Central Mindanao, no, particularly the MILF, na they see yung nakita nila yung opportunity na okay, this is the window na magkaroon na ng relative peace ang Central Mindanao. But sabi nga nila, meron talaga mga strugglers, no? There are discontentment among the group. So hindi lahat sila. So lumabas yung Bangsamoro Freedom Movement of the 105 Base Command ni Ustad Amiral Umbracato. Kasi si Umbracato talaga, nung buhay pa siya, isa siyang parang medyo radical thinker siya. Medyo ayaw niya makipag-usap sa government kasi gusto lang niya na yung objective na magkaroon ng independence. So, mahirap siya kausapin at that time. So, there is a faction within the MILF at that time. So, kami na military, so we encourage them na to talk. Kasi magrido nga, one time we settled a rido settlement in Pigkawayan, in Libungan, Toreta, way back in 2011. There is a warring group 101st at saka 104th Base Command doon, pinagkasundo namin, no? And then, nung nagkasundo sila doon, no, we were amazed because during the peace settlement, the Rideau settlement, ang MILF, no, akala naman 20 lang eh. Nung nag-withdraw yung forces ng military na nagpacify ng Rideau settlement at that time, naiwan kami ng 1 SF team na nag-speedboat lang kami, no, utilizing the capability ng SF na riverine. Kasi yung isang approach is ilog. Doon namin nakita na yung MILF na nag-attend doon, almost 1,000, napaikutan kami. It's because of balik pa nga tayo, na DSF, because the community organizing na forte namin. No, we make friends among our enemies. Kasi nga, maybe our ideology is magka-opposite, but there are things na magkasundo tayo, like community, religion, respect of law, respect of the elders. So, doon ko nakita na yung pagiging SF ko, doon ko talaga na-test talaga kung gaano ka effective yung pagiging magaling mag-organize ng community, magaling makisama, magaling makitao. So, one team lang ako, lumabas yung napakaraming MILF, akala ko nga alamutakin ako doon eh, kaya isang speedboat lang kami, 5 tao lang kami. Yet we're able to get away without harm. And then, yung settlement ng Rideau, naayos namin. So, si Obracato, hindi siya ganun. He is very radical. Ayaw niya nang makipag-usap sa military. Gusto niya away-away lang. Then, there was a point in time na the history, backtrack tayo way back in 2000. That in Central Mindanao area, there is a certain place there, yung sa may boundary ng Gindulungan, Talayan, Dato Saudi, yung bundok na mataas dyan, Dato Unsay, yung bundok na mataas dyan, yung Mount Peris, was the base command of the 105th Base Command, na ang tawag na is Camp Omar Asidik. Na nung 2000, nung all-out war, that was the first place na kinuha ng government from the control of the MILF, yung 105th Base Command. Kasi that is the staging ground, staging area nila na pupunta na para sila mag-conduct ng atrocities, kasi yung Cotabato to Jensan Road, yung highway na yan, ang tawag na dyan is Highway of Death eh. Walang nagbibiyahe mga sakyan dyan. Kasi pag magkaroon ng gagawa yung MILF ng kwanon, before yung all-out war na yon, nang checkpoint sila. Ang dami na mamatay dyan ng mga sibilyan. Mga sundalo nga na mamatay, binabaril nila eh. So, it was very, at that time, no, way back in 2000, na yun yung unang kinuha na hill na it took the government forces almost months before na nakuha yung hill na yan. Kasi yun yung, that is one of the impregnable fortress. No, sinabi sa akin ng mga nag-surrender na mga kaibigan natin na mga MI dati na kausap ko. One of the impregnable fortress yan, next to Camp Abu Bakar. Kasi, yung only approach lang talaga niya is may isang certain road lang yon na later on, it will be the topic of the war story namin. Kung paano natin na-accomplish yung isang mission doon, that why the SF was deployed there talaga, bakit kami ang napili pa. So when Obracato, no, decided na hihiwalay na siya sa nagkaroon ng faction, hinaya lang namin yung leadership ng MILF na kausapin nila yung members nila. No, so walang gera na nangyari time before yung nagkaroon ng gera noong 2012. Wala pa nangyari gera, mag-usap-usap lang sila. And we're encouraging them. Kasi as I earlier mentioned, na tumutulong kami ma-settle yung Rideau. No, kasama na yung part na yun na sa effort ng yung reconciliatory effort at saka yung building confidence pala. So part na yun siya. But Obracato is very hard to ginawa, ang ihirap niya kusapin, no? There was an instances na kinausap siya ng brigade at that time, yung 1st Mechanized Brigade. Kinausap na siya, na bumalik na siya sa regular fold, nagbigay na ng ayuda. Nagbigay ng 50 carabao siya at that time para for the farming. And then nagbigay sila ng seedlings and nagbigay sila ng bigas para sa mga farmers. Doon sa Camp Umar na yon, ang sinasabi ko. Kasi, backtrack tayo ulit. Before nangyari yung 2012 na gera doon, after the 2000 all-out war, there are years na may peace talk tayo. I think 2003, when it failed, nagkaroon ng gera sa Ligwasan March. 2008, there was a peace agreement, yung MUAID, a peace effort, MUAID, but it failed. Nagkaroon ng gera uli. Doon naman sa may Ligwasan March pa rin siya na area, but yung SPMS na. Doon lang, paikot-ikot lang kami noon at that time. 2008, 9, and then 2012 na ang next na gera dyan na medyo malaki. So, with that year, from 2000 to 2012, yung yung Mount Perez na yan, yung bundok na yan, to give you an perspective, magkaroon kayo ng overview, if you're going to Cotabato City, traversing the road from Esperanza going to Awang, yung left side na bundok dyan, that is the bundok ng yung Mount Perez. Makita nyo dyan sa may crossing Salvo, yung bundok sa ibabaw. So, binalikan yan ng una muna is bumalik yung community doon, yung mga kasi sinasabi ng community. And then, when MUAID pumutok, doon umatras yung Bracато, doon siya nag-fortify, nagkampo na siya. So, in-occupy na niya. So, from 2008 to 2012, there was a relative peace, but the forces of Umbracato, finortify nila yung bundok na yan, sir. Inoccupy nila uli to the point na marami na silang, may training camp na sila, may mga bunker na sila, may, camp na talaga siya. Military camp na siya. So, one of the tasks ng Special Forces noon is to conduct a mass-based operation, to organize yung community doon ng mga Tiroray. Historically, the Tiroray and the Maguindanaoan are one tribe lang yan sila. It so happened under narrative that, according to them, Mamalo and Tabunaway is magkapatid sila, na si Tabunaway, I think Tabunaway is the sister na inasawa ni Sheriff Kabunsuan, so yun yung story nila. And then si Mamalo, siya yung kapatid nila na ayaw doon sa foreigner na dumating doon, namundok. Kasi nga hindi sila magkaibang kwa nila. But basically, they are the same people. They are divided by religion because the Tiroray are Christians, Episcopal Christians. And then the Maguindanaoan or the Muslim, sila yung nagsettle dito sa may mga ilog. At saka ang Tiroray dito sa bundok. Kaya masabi mo na halos same lang yan sila na tribe, na tao. Nag-differ lang talaga sa culture ng religion nila at saka yung naging kasanayan nila kasi taga-bundok yung mga Tiroray, yung mga Maguindanaoan is sa ilog. So this community has been marginalized for so long a time, no? Ginagamit sila ng MILF, ginagamit sila ng mga ng kuwan natin doon, yung mga local officials doon. No? They've been so marginalized for so long a time. And then before sila umatras, no, before nakuha pala ni binalikan ni Bracато yung Mount Perez way back on 2008, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yan. There is a hill na ang hill na yon is, ang tawag sa kanya is Hill 224. No? Yung mga Tiroray na kasi nga, ancestral domain nila yung Camp Umar. It was their ancestral domain and then inoccupy ng MILF ni Umbracato at that time. So, instead na babalik yung mga Tiroray doon after ng gera, nung relative peace ng 2000 to 2012, nag-stay put sila doon sa isang hill na yon, yung Hill 224, na ipinangalan nila sa isang retired na general, si General Den Quiamco, Sitio Quiamco. But it was the battalion CP of his battalion, sir. I think 54th IB yata, or 15 IB. I don't know the history of that one, but it was a battalion CP. Pinangalan yon ng Sitio Quiamco, kaya in honor of General Quiamco. And then, doon nagtira yung mga Tiroray, no? For so long of time, yung Tiroray doon, minamarginalize sila, no? Ginagamit sila, ina-exploit sila sa kahinaan nila kasi nga, they are the IP of the, kumbaga IP sila ng Maguindanao. Baga, hindi sila ganon ka-treat. Kumbaga, at that time kasi yung mga IP noon, hindi siya fairly treated. So, one of the capability ng SF nga, as I earlier mentioned, yung community organizing through mass-based operation, we're given task to organize and then i-organize yung community to make it a resilient community, sir. Na ibalik yung dangal nila, they could stand on their own feet. At that time, sir, there is an existing peace talk. So, walang ibang forces ang naisip si 6IB, 6ID din. Sila yung supported unit namin. But to task the SF company, sir. The SF battalion at that time. So, ako noon, sir, I was the team leader, one of the team leaders na pinasok namin yung, inorganize namin yun. The first team leader there was then Lieutenant Colonel Peñera, sir. He knows all the nitty-gritty and details on that mission, sir, na ginawa namin, sir. And then, in-execute ko na lang, sir, kasi nga, after niya, ako na nag-continue. Kasi, he went to other units, sir. He was given another mission, sir. So, for the war story, sir, I have some mga friends ko dito, sir, my colleagues, sir, na they could tell you what are the exploits though, sir. I am just telling on the perspective of a team leader, the history, why the SF was deployed there, at saka yung capabilities. So, yung nabanggit ko sa inyo na capabilities ng SF is yung organizing, no? Nabanggit ko rin sa inyo yung riverine, yung mag-conduct ng operation doon sa marshland. So, after that, hindi man matawag na war, battle sa Hill 224. So, yung BIFF group, ang BIFF na-break into 3 groups sila. I remember, when Kato was alive, ang kanyang vice commander si Zakaria Goma, I think military niya, si Zakaria Goma, si Bungos was the, I think, political niya. Tapos si Karyalan, ata siya yung chief of staff niya. Tapos si Abu Misri. Abu Misri Mama was the spokesperson. At saka si Kato, siya yung spiritual at the same time leader. So, lima yan sila. Na nung after ng incident na yon, ng battle na yon, it fragmented that when Kato died, it split into 3 groups. Yung kay Zakaria Goma o yung 105, ni-reconstitute nila yung 105 base command, bumalik yun sa MILF, sir. Yes. Karyalan at saka si Bungos splintered into BIFF, Bungos, and Karyalan faction. But that was some time na. So nag-splintered sila, no, nagkalat-kalat. Ang iba pumunta doon sa after that battle, parang 2 weeks battle, no? Kasi yung sa atin, no, nag-defense 3 days, eh. We defended for 3 days and 3 nights, and then after that one, pumasok na yung mga units na nag-support sa atin hanggang sa paalis sila. For almost 2 weeks yung gera na yun, sir. Some went to Liguasan Mars because Liguasan Mars is a area kung saan naging kwan lang stronghold nila, sir. But they splintered into factions, sir, kasi alam nila, sir, na pag marami sila, sir, kaya silang i-exploit o kaya silang i-engage namin because we have riverine capabilities. May mga boats that time, sir, may airboat. So, kaya na pasukin naman yung mga marshes area doon. And then, may speedboat kami, kaya na pumasok doon sa mga maliliit na creeks. And then, given pa sa community organizing namin na activities. So, kaya namin makipag-engage sa community, makipag-usap doon without directing, without, baga kayo, kalaman ka na, hindi. nahihiwalay namin yung pula sa puti because of that capabilities na na-develop namin. Of course, yung experience, it takes kasi experience kung paano mo siya makuha. Kaya that's why tumatagal kami. I remember magkakapitan na ako, saka ako na-relieve mag-team leader, sir. So, ang tagal, no?
Bakit gaano ka-importante sa isang SF na nagbababad ka sa isang area? Kasi, especially doon sa yung area na yan,
yes, sir.
Nothing compares dyan sa area na yan.
Isa talaga dyan, sir, na nagbababad kami dyan, sir. It's because the dynamics of the area, sir. At that time kasi, sir, way back in 2012, sir, there was a peace talk, sir. So, di ka pwede gumamit ng military, sir, yung strength mo, sir. So, there was a instances nga, sir, nagkagera nga yung forces natin noon, sir, na pumasok yung CCCH at saka yung UPAP noon, na nakaswan pa nga yung mga na-involve, ng mga officers. But at that time, sir, nag-battle, sir, it so happened, sir, because when we apply the capabilities ng SF, sir, yung mass-based operations namin, sir, yung community organizing namin, sir, no? Kailangan mo kasi aralin yung dynamics sa area mo, sir. Yun yung isang...
Yun yung bottom line.
Yun yung kailangan mo aralin dynamics, sir. Hindi ka basta-basta, sir, na ito ang gamot nito, yung direct action ko ito. Itong gamot nito is i-organize ko to. Ito, kailangan ko yung reberide. So, kung mapansin mo, sir, in every area, sir, ng SF, sir, kasi ako, dami ko naputang area, sir, bumababad kami as a unit, sir, as a team. Kasi, ang kuha nga, sir, is mga SOF imperative, sir, the political implications, the strategic effect. Papasok din, sir, Isa sa mga, kumbaga, sa force na kailangan mo, sir, it's a force sa economy of force, sir, yung SF team ang gamitin mo, sir. At the same time, sir, kasi nga sa capabilities nga niya na kaya niya, sir, yung organization sa mass-based organization, yung Riverine, yung airborne, sir, susunod tayo doon, sir, kasi nagkanda kami ng airborne doon. Yung special reconnaissance, direct action, at saka yung target interdiction namin, sir. Kailangan mo siya i-con, sir, Kumbaga, kung ito ang problema mo, sir, ngayon, complex problem na, sir, paano mo siya solve, sir, utilizing those capabilities? That's why bumababad kami, sir, So, kailangan mo aralin yung mga concern, ano yung current condition doon, ano yung mga factors na nakaka-affect sa condition na yun. Kailangan mo i-consider ngayon, sir. Hindi mo basta-basta na tirahin ito, gamitan mo ng direct action, kung nagpipisto kayo. So, in order for the bad eggs na lalabas, so sila dapat ang gagawa ng atrocities. Kasi yun yung kanon, sir, directive namin noon, na you will fire unless you are fired upon. So, kung hindi ka pinutukan, hindi ka mag-retaliate. So,
ano ang challenges ng mass-based operation sa isang gano'n na area na Muslims and Christian terrorized, highly intense situation, may history of conflict dating back to the late 60s.
Sir.
Ano yung kwandon? And there's so much hatred, meron pang paramilitary groups.
Meron pa, sir.
Ano yung challenges ng isang special forces unit na mass-based operation sa ganun?
Ang isa talaga sa nagbigay talaga ng challenge sa amin doon, sir, is yung culture of violence, impunity. Kasi for so long a time, yung tao doon naging kuwan na sila, naging immune na sa violence. Baga, para lang ako makabawi, reduin ko na lang yung kalaban ko. Ganon. So, culture of impunity, dinadaan na lang nila sa kamay nila yung justice. So, yun yung isa doon. So, yun yung isang challenge na nagbigay sa amin na medyo challenging. Of course, there is the cultural differences. Madali lang naman yun, lalo kung naka-embed ka with the community, you will feel what they feel. So, you will eat what they eat. You will sleep what they sleep. No? You will work with them. Sasamahan mo sila sa hirap at ginawa. Makukuha mo naman doon sa cultural sensitivity. Of course, there is the peace talk at that time. No, hindi kami pwedeng gumawa ng action na it will be detrimental to the organization, no, the armed forces itself. So, specifically, the unit namin doon, hindi kami pwedeng gumawa ng action na ikakasira sa effort ng peace effort noon. Military nga noon is nag-effort for the settlement nga. May building confidence nga kami na effort like yung pagkandak ng Rido settlement. So, ituloy ko, sir. So, yun yung mga challenges namin, sir, yung nabanggit ko, sir, kanina. Na at that time, very kwan pa siya, sir. Hindi pa siya ganon talaga na medyo nahihilot, sir. Kasi the culture of violence and culture of impunity, sir, will take time, sir, na maghilom, sir. But yung problema sa yung paggawa ng kalsada, yung economic development, kung governance lang naman na yun, sir. So, yun yung naging challenge namin, sir. Tapos baril. Of course, sir, may baril ng mga tao doon. Hindi mo pwedeng sabihin na kalaban ka ng gobyerno. Hindi. Pag ako, imay ako, sabi niya, ako, imay ako. So, we have peace agreement, we have peace talk. Pero, they also take advantage of that one, sir. Lalo paano, imay ako, pero ako, BIFF ako. Pwede ako hold up. Just like what happened in Sulu also, Basilan also, na MI ako, MN ako, but yung kampo nila sa gilid lang ng mga base camps noon. So, ganun sila. So, they are playing on that tactics nila. So later on, na-solve din natin yan. Hanap natin yung solution yan. So ibang area naman, on my experience when I was the XO naman ng batalyon namin sa Basilan. But in Cotabato area, no, after that one, nung gera no 2012, ng experience namin sa SF noon, there was a peace a year. And then, sometime in 2013, ang nagkagulo naman is doon naman sa marsh area na, sir. So, umalis na sila doon, sir. Umalis na sa Hill Totopor. Umalis na yung mga faction ni Karyalan doon, ni Bungos. Umalis na. Nag-stay na sila dito sa may marshy area. So, the effect is that when they evacuated the area, umalis na sila doon, bumaba sila doon sa Pawasan, ang kalaban nila, kami din. Kasi we have the capability, we are riverine unit, we have boats, we have airboats. So we could penetrate them. And then also given sa nature ng yung mission namin, kaya naman community organized, no? We have an effort in Pikit before na inorganize namin yung nagkanda kami ng organizing works doon. Inorganize namin yung mga tao doon, no, to isolate them from the influences of yung sa BIF naman. So inorganize namin yun doon. Kaya I think earlier merong nag-abot sa Mapagkaya. That was the offshoot nung Hill Totopor. After ng gera doon kasi, ay experience ko sa Cotabato na area is bultuhan yung gera-gera, sir. So, gera ng 2012, almost 2 weeks. After that, wala nang gera naman. Pumutok naman ulit doon sa may Ligwasan Marsh area, sa may Pikit area. So, that was a year naman na, sir. So, kung sino yung kalaban namin doon sa Hill Totopor, sila naman yung kalaban namin dito sa baba din, sir. So, ganon yung cycle, sir. Kung mainit sa bundok, baba sila sa Pawas. Pag mainit sa Pawas, akit sa bundok. But, recently, sir, nung nakuha natin yung Hill Totopor, sir, o yung Mount Perez, sir, na we were able to get the control of the Hill Totopor, sir, at saka napalayas natin yung BIFF doon, sir. Hindi na sila pumupunta doon, sir. Ang nangyari, sir, nag-splintered sila into cells. Yun yung nakita ko, sir, na the last na nag-evolve sila pang BIFF, naging DI sila, sir. Naging Dawla Islamiyah na sila, di ba?
Yan ngayon.
Naging Daesh. Yun na yun, sir. Nag-faction na sila, sir. Because they could not occupy the area, sir. Kasi nga, ang style kasi nila, sir, before is mass up. Maramihan yan, sir. Parang conventional forces sila.
Panahon namin yun, 2000.
Yes, sir. Nung dumating sa amin, sir, meron pa rin sa nag-mass up sila, but they are slowly evolving into, sir, yung guerrilla forces, nag-guerrilla warfare na sila, sir. Yung mga palima-lima, paanim-anim, pero katabi nila yung kampo ng MILF, katabi nila yung kampo ng MNLF, na pag dinalaw mo sila, gigirahin ka ng mga forces na ito, sir, kasi nga pinasok mo. So, ganun naging tactics nila. But eventually, sir, dahil nga sa community organizing natin, sir, at saka yung diplomatic approach tayo sa mga forces sa paligid, sir. na-isolate natin sila, sir. Na to the point na yung mga MILF na mismo, sir, sila na nagkipag-gira sa mga BIFF, sir. There was an instance there, sir, na yung tropa natin, sir, sila na yung nakikipag-usap sa mga partner force, ano ba tawag natin dyan? Yung forces natin sa area. I don't know kasi wala na ako dyan But at that time, na si MILF na mismo nagkikipag-gira sa mga ito kasi nga, they're already, baka ini-spoil na nila yung time na nung napirmahan yung BBL, way back 2014, natapos na yung gira, sila na lang yung nanggugulo doon. So, the contribution ng SF unit doon, when I was assigned there way back in 2009 to 2014, the humble experiences that I've experienced, nung dito ko lang dito, na-realize ko lang na pinagtagpi-tagpi ko yung effort namin na dumating kami, I was first lieutenant at that time, nung narelieve ko kapitan. Yung effort namin nung pinagtagpi-tagpi ko, yung Flood Compassion na operation ng MOA AD, yung Maguindanao Massacre, yung Flood Compassion because of the failure of yung sa area na kung saan sila mag-govern, sir. Maguindanao Massacre because of political greed. Hill Totopor, Battle of Hill Totopor because of there's a faction between the MILF and MNLF, sir, MILF, there's a faction within the MILF, ng BIFF at saka yung leadership yung mainstream MILF. So there was a splinter and then there was a faction and then after that battle, sumunod na splintered na sila. And then when that was the battle na hindi ko na nasamahan yung sa Battle of Mapagkaya. Team din namin yun na dineploy din doon. Baga, kung pagtagpi-tagpiin mo, there is a connect na mapunta tayo dito sa relative stability ngayon sa Central Mindanao. But, as I'm saying that, it is relative stability, sir. Masabi ko lang kasi that was our experience when we are contributing to the overall goal ng government natin na magkaroon talaga ng peaceful talaga na resolution ng conflict for so long time. At saka, we achieved naman that one through napirmahan yung BBL noong 2014. And then, tuloy-tuloy siya with dating ng 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Walang masyado ng gera, di ba? Wala na masyadong gera na yun, sir, na ako na-experience. Wala na ang gera kasi noon, sir, is Kanyon, Ubitin, MG. Yun, sir, inabutan ko pa yun, sir. Of Flood Compassion Corps after MOA AD. At saka yun, Battle of Hill Totopor. Yun yung ma-experience ko, sir, na medyo, yun, sir, magamit mo yung combined arms operation, sir. But, nag-merge na yung warfare, nag-evolve na siya kasi nag-evolve yung threat, sir, Nag-evolve yung threat mo na from mainstream sila na yung mass up, na into guerrilla force na sila, sir. Pero meron pa rin silang mga regular force formation, sir. Then, in-apply natin yung asymmetric warfare siguro doon, sir. We have the unconventional approach and the conventional forces.
Pero anong one mo? Kasi I like your term na relative stability, di ba?
Yes, sir.
So, you're also implying na relative lang talaga yon. Hindi permanent stability unlike yung mga other areas ng Pilipinas, yes, na masabi mong peaceful talaga yan.
Masabi ko kasi, sir, because there are factors to be considered, sir. Like the normalization, sir, process, the electoral process ng mga kasi I think BARM is a parliamentary type siya, sir. So medyo yun, kaya siguro there will be extension. And then of course, economic opportunity, sir. Pag hindi ma-address yun, sir, lalo na kung ang babalik yun sa sakwan, sir, sa sinasabi ni Umbarkato na bakit pa kasi kayo nagkipag-peace-talk. Yun yung narrative niya noon, sir.
Bakit kayo sinasabihan niya yung kasama niya?
Sinasabihan niya yung mga kasama niya, yung leadership ng MILF, bakit pa kasi kayo nakapag-peace-talk. Yun yung kanya, yun yung ini-imply niya. Kaya at the end of his life, talagang rebel siya. Baga, freedom fighter siya. Yun yung kaya nga tinawag na freedom fighter. Kasi ang instinct talaga nila is they want to separate ang freedom. kung ma-address na ng kwan yun, it's not a military solution already, sir. Hindi na siya problem ng military. Masabi ko lang kasi, sir, because we've been there in the grassroots, sir. Nakita namin. Yung number one factor talaga, sir, is yung firearms talaga, sir. Kaya nga sabi ko, sir, culture of violence, sir. Nandiyan pa yung baril. Kaya may mang gatong lang dyan, sir. May mang suso lang dyan, sir. Babalik din sila ulit sa dating ko na, sir. Kasi it will take generation na ma-educate mo siya, sir. I believe, sir, na ang kailangan talaga dyan, sir, na one of the solution talaga, sir, is education. Educate the people. Of course, there is a reconciliation process. Ginagawa naman natin through OPAP. And then, economic opportunity. Yung sinasabi ko yung economic opportunity kasi hindi mo kaya turuan yung tao na hindi mo siya pwede bigyan ng isda para mabuhay. You should teach them how to fish. So, economic opportunity, yung development ng kalsada, ano pa ba, yung mga, yun talaga, farm to market roads, yung development ng yung pang ano kung anong klaseng kung magumahan ba sila sa livelihood, livelihood. Marami naman na effort. Nasabi ko lang kasi nga there's still the yung kailangan pa matapos ng mga ano to. Kailangan na ma-address yung problem nga talaga natin, yung culture of violence at saka yung may mga baril pa talaga existing sa area. I know naman for the fact na the government has the effort on the normalization, lalo na yung pag-decommission ng mga firearms, sir. So, kung na-decommission na lahat yung firearms and then they will be converted from a fighter into a productive citizen, sir. It will take time, sir. Yan lang, sir, is I could not say because based on my experience lang naman ito, sir. Kaya nga kasi nasabi ko lang, sir, because yung nga, nag-splintered nga yung MILF at that time before pa magkaroon ng BBL, sir. So, if those factors, sir, na nabanggit ko, sir, generic lang naman yun, sir, general yun, sir, eh. Pag hindi talaga nila the issue, yung normalization, yung political process, economic opportunity, babalik uli yun sa problem na doon naman tayo, magkikipagbarilan na tayo, mag-move naman ng forces sa Mindanao, which is, hindi na siya solution sa ngayon, sir, eh. I believe in the process, the peace process, sir, the effort of the government and the MILF leadership, sir, na hindi na tayo babalik sa ganun na sistema, sir, because masaklap, sir, eh. No, ako, namatay na ako ng tao, sir, sila namatay na silang tauhan. Ako, namatay na ako ng mista dyan, sir. Namatayan din kami ng tropa dyan, sir. So, napaka-kuha na, sir, eh. Babalik pa tayo doon sa ganun na sistema, which is the same problem existed decades before, tapos nag-retire na lang din yung mga officers na yon, tapos dumating kami, nag-contribute kami for the greater good, magkaroon ng solution sa problem, and then pagdating na panahon, kami maging nasa top na naman kami. Yun naman din yung maging problema ng mga junior officers, which is, I think there should be a point of time na tuldukan na natin yung problem na yung existing problem before na hindi sila napapagbibigyan, baka napapabayaan sila. There is no economic development, there is no political stability, there is no stable peace. So, I believe naman, sir, na nabanggit ko lang na relative peace because meron pa rin kasi mga baril. Kaya, yun lang, sir, yung kwan ko. Experience ko for the past 5 years of my career sa military, yung isang pagi ko doon, sir. Doon ako second.
Prime of your life.
Yes, sir. Second long pay of my year. Second long pay, sir. Doon ako nag-second long pay, sir, eh. So, pag first long pay ko, sir, hanggang sa pag second long pay, halos doon na, sir.